What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to another video, and today I have an update to my Spright deck profile. I'm not gonna waste too much time on this. It's just it's not my Spright deck profile, but it is a deck profile I'm bringing to y'all. I did have inspiration from a list a long time ago, and I've just kind of updated the list, and I'm gonna jump right on into the profile. Starting us off, of course, with our main man, Spright Blue. 3 copies of Blue. So all Spright main deck monsters have the same effect, where if you control a level or rank 2 monster, you can special summon them, and they have unique effects to each one. Blue's unique effect is, whenever he is special summoned, you can add a Spright monster from your deck to your hand. Typically, what you're searching off of Blue is one of your 3 copies of Spright Jet, but if you open the Jet, that's okay. You can search other targets. And what does Jet do? Well, Jet on special summon can add a Spright spell or trap from your deck to your hand, so this can add interaction, this can add extension, so on and so forth. Next, we're on one copy each of Spright Carrot and Spright Red in the main, because, well, these are the only playable Spright monsters, because Pixies is not that great. And what do these two do? Well, Carrot is a spell and trap negate, whereas Red is a monster negate. And if you tribute a rank or link to monster for their effect, because they tribute one other level, rank, or link to monster in order to negate a spell trap or a spell trap, and then in Red's case, a monster effect to negate it, but they don't destroy it. But if you tribute a rank or link to monster, it does negate and destroy. But you don't need to negate and destroy in this current format, because destroying really isn't that great. Next, we're on 3 copies of Spright Starter. This summons a Spright monster, or special summons a Spright monster from the deck, but you take damage equal to its original attack. And then you're locked into rank and link to monsters in the extra deck. So it's a good way to start you, hence the name Starter. But it's also a good way to keep extending, but it's also another way to get more interactions on your opponent's turn. So yeah, and then I am on 2 copies of Spright Smashers. I've been meaning, this is a change I've been meaning to make. Spright Double Cross, which is their normal trap card, I would cut out 1 Smashers for a copy of Double Cross, just because Double Cross has a lot more applications than Smashers and requires a lot less resource sink than Smashers does. And then 1 copy of Gamma Burst to help push for game. It gives all of your level, rank, and link to monsters 1400 attack until the end of the turn, and then you can banish it to give something an additional 1400 attack until the end of the turn. And that is it for our Spright package. A very, very small Spright package indeed. Next, we are on 3 copies of Nimble Beaver. This is our Nimble package, which is 3 Beaver, 2 Angler, simply because Beaver can summon the Angler from the graveyard, but Beaver can also summon another copy of itself from the graveyard. So Beaver on normal summon summons a level 3 or lower Nimble from the deck or your graveyard. Very, very strong normal summon in the deck. This is typically your normal summon for the turn, because you can normal summon Beaver, special summon Beaver, or special summon an Angler, link off into Spright Sprint, and then Sprint send the other copy of Angler, and then Angler will summon your other 2 copies of Beaver from the deck, allowing you to make gigantic Spright in 4 summons, I believe, because that's Beaver, Angler, Sprint. No, that's your 6th summon. My bad. But that is it for our Nimble package, a very small package, but Beaver is your best normal summon in the deck because you don't really have a normal summon. Then for Melfi's, I am on 1 Caddy and 1 Penny still because this is all you need for Melfi's. You could run Wally, you could run a bigger Melfi package, but this is all I have chosen to run. Now we move on to our generic spells. We have 2 copies of Triple Tactics Talents because a lot of interaction is based off of hand traps right now, and this is the deck to be playing. 2 copies of Crossout alongside 2 copies of Talents, and then the 1 copy of Called by the Grave, just because being able to stop hand traps is really, really good. Being able to plus off of your opponent hand trapping you is also really good. And then speaking of hand traps, let me just a second to fix my pile. Now we move on to our fat stack of hand traps, which is the rest of the deck. We have 3 copies of Ash Blossom and Joy Spring. I don't see a single deck in the current metagame that is tiered that isn't playing 3 Ash, and that has been the way it has been since 2017. Ash has just been around ever since it was printed. 3 copies of Droll and Lockbird, one of the arguable best hand traps currently in the format. This card does hurt our deck quite a lot, which is why I play the crossouts and the called bys to protect us against this specific card as a whole. If you wanted to, you could play the third copy of crossout to help mitigate Droll and Lockbird. But then I'm also on 3 copies of DD Crow, which is really good against the Fire King matchup specifically. It's good against other matchups because it's also good against Labyrinth. It's good against Fire King. It's good against anything that's graveyard reliant. So we're on 3 copies of this. And then I'm on 2 copies of Ghost Mourner and Moonlit Chill, along with 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. That's a lot of hand traps. That's 14 hand traps. Goes to show how kind of like flexible Spright is on how you can build it. Moving on to the extra deck now. Starting us off at the Link monsters, because we're starting with the Links. We have 1 copy of Spright Sprint. You only need the 1. And what does it do? Well, Spright Sprint has this wonderful effect that on summon, it just Foolish Burials any level 2 monster from your deck. So, Nimble Angler. And then whenever a monster is special summoned, while you control an Xyz monster, you can detach a material from that Xyz monster, or from that rank 2 Xyz monster, in order to bounce a card your opponent controls back to the hand. Then I'm also on 1 copy of IP Masquerena, 1 copy of Nightmare Unicorn instead of playing a Little Knight, because I don't own Little Knight because it's way too expensive of a card. In fact, Age of Overlord is a mess that I really don't want to be talking about, but I'm going to talk about it just ever so briefly, and now I'm done. Then I'm on 1 Pit Knight Early. Pit Knight Early is interesting because it's another negate. So if you have Early underneath Sprint and you use Sprint's effect to bounce a card, since Early points to it, it would be able to negate another card's effect on the board. Or if you had Early pointing to something right here per se, like a carrot or a red, you would then be able to negate another monster effect on top of that. Then I'm on 1 copy of Dark for playing against dark decks, because you can make dark in here. And then I'm on 1 copy of Bujinki Ahashima, because Ahashima is fantastic. What it does is it on Link summons 2 monsters, 1 from your hand, 1 from your graveyard, with the same level. Effects are negated, and then immediately after the effect resolves, you Xyz summon using the 2 monsters that you summon. Super strong, super good. It makes gigantic on summon, and that's all you need to know about Ahashima. And since I've been talking about him, I think it's time to actually talk about him. We're now moving on to the Xyz, and we're starting off with 2 copies of Gigantic Spright. Gigantic Spright is the card to be. This is probably one of the best boss monsters ever printed for an archetype of low-leveled stuff, simply because of what it does. So you can use Link 2 monsters as Xyz material. If it has a Link monster as Xyz material, it doubles its original attack. So it becomes 3200 original attack. And then you can detach a material from an Xyz monster. It does not have to specifically be from Gigantic Spright, but you can detach an Xyz material from any level or any Xyz monster you control to then special summon a level 2 from the deck. And then both players are locked into level rank in Link 2 monsters until the end of your opponent's turn. I believe it's an yeah, neither player can special summon for the... Oh, no, it's just for the rest of your turn. My bad. Sorry. So, saves you from nib. And then we're also on 1 copy of Melfi of the Forest. Detaches material to add a Melfi from your deck to your hand. So you're usually summoning this to add Caddy, and so on. Oh, wait, I just realized something. Okay. So this next card is not Herald, but we're setting it to the side to be Herald. So this is a 14 card extra deck. Actually, I would prefer this one over this one. So this is a 14 card extra deck. There should be a Herald of the Arclight in here. I completely blanked out on that. So I'm only going to be showing 14 cards, but Herald of the Arclight, it's a level 4 synchro. It's an Omni Negate. You need that. I completely blanked on it, and I'm so sorry. Next, I have, just for generic rank 2s, number 2, number 65, number 29, and then I have 1 copy of Downard and 1 copy of Zeus. This copy of number 45 is going to represent our Herald of the Arclight for right now, because I do own copies of Herald of the Arclight. I just don't want to go and grab one. And I'm not going to chalk this recording just simply because I did not put Herald of the Arclight here. So, yeah. I'm sorry about that, guys. I needed to be a little bit better. It's been a day. But let's ignore that and let's move on to the extra deck. Or not extra, side deck. Starting us off in the side deck, we have another copy of Red, because sometimes Carrot doesn't really do it and you don't need the Carrot, and then other times you need the Carrot and 1 copy of Red. So this either gets sided in over the Carrot or gets sided in over a copy of Angler. Actually, no, you never want to side out a copy of Angler. But usually this gets sided in over something that you don't necessarily need. Then we have 1 copy of Ghost Mourner and Moonlit Chill here to round out our playset. So if you need a board out of Imperm, or not Imperm, if you need a board out of Crow or something or other, you can board into this. Then I'm also on 3 copies of Effect Veiler because, like I said, monster effects are really relevant right now. So we're on the 3 Veiler to show that. Then I'm also on 3 copies of Droplet because this deck can play Droplet very easily. You don't need a lot of resources to kind of build your board. You literally just need a copy of Starter. And that's it. Then we're also on 3 copies of Dark Ruler No More. And to round out our playset of Triple Tactics Talent, we're on 1 copy of Triple Tactics Talent. And then for the final card here in the side deck, we have 3 copies of Evenly Matched. Give me just a moment to go ahead and clean up. But yeah. Alright, guys, so with that being said, I really hope you guys did enjoy. I'm sorry. I am very, very, very sorry that I did not include a certain card in the actual deck profile and had to substitute it out for a proxy of a backwards card. Like I said, it's been a day, and